Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu. This video is in response to the main allegation raised against the founder of the Ahmadi Muslim community. The allegation of the anti-Ahmadis is that Hadhrat Ahmad al-Islam, who was the promised Messiah Imam Mahdi, prophesied by the Holy Prophet of Islam, passed away in the washroom. Firstly, Hadhrat Ahmad al-Islam did not pass away in the washroom, nor did he die of cholera. Rather, he passed away peacefully on his bed.
يا حسرة على العباد ما يأتيهم من رسول إلا كانوا به يستهزئون.
The reason the anti-Ahmadis raise this allegation is because it helps them stay away from the Qur'an and the sunnah. I begin by quoting a very important hadith of the Holy Prophet. He states, "It is enough of a lie of a man to narrate everything he hears." My first advice to the anti-Ahmadis is that they should stop spreading lies about a Prophet of Allah and should actually do some research before speaking. Furthermore, they should be careful because the people who raised these allegations in the past were not safe from the wrath of Allah. Furthermore, the Prophet of Islam stated that the Muslims would begin to resemble the Jews. He stated, "What befell the children of Israel will befall my ummah step by step." The Prophet made it clear that the Muslims would become just like the Jews, just as the Jews till today falsely mock Hazrat Isa al-Islam and his death and call it an accursed death. Many Muslims do the same with the Messiah that Allah sent to them. Let us now see how Hadhrat Ahmad al-Islam in reality passed away. It is narrated, he would often suffer from upset stomach and diarrhea. He had a loose motion and consequently felt weak. He woke up his wife, who immediately got up to look after him and started massaging his feet. Soon after, he felt the need to use the privy again. When he returned, he was weak to such an extent that while he was about to lie down on his bed, he wasn't able to support his own body weight and almost fell on his own bed. Soon his eldest son and 2 doctors were also summoned to his bedside, and all possible humanly efforts were made to save him. Due to his weakness, Hadhrat Ahmad al-Islam was also having trouble speaking. The only words that could be heard from him were, "O Allah, my dear Allah." I was standing by him at the time of Fajr prayer. After inquiring whether it was time for prayer, he performed tayammum and tried to offer his prayer in bed. But he fell unconscious. After regaining consciousness, he again inquired about Fajr prayer and offered his prayer while lying down in his bed. He was becoming weaker by the moment, and all you could hear were the words, "O Allah, my dear Allah." At last, at about 10:30 a.m., with his family by his side, he breathed his last, and his soul departed from this world towards Allah. The allegation of the anti-Ahmadis is a complete lie and has no truth to it. In fact, it was invented much after the passing of Hadhrat Ahmad al-Islam. After this, the anti-Ahmadis often say that if Hadhrat Ahmad al-Islam was a prophet of Allah, why was he ill during his final day? Firstly, a true Muslim who dies of a stomach ailment is a martyr. As the Prophet stated, he who dies of an abdominal disease is a martyr. Next, the anti-Ahmadis make it seem like a prophet cannot get sick. This is totally against the Qur'an, sunnah and books of the own scholars of the anti-Ahmadis. Qur'an states, "And him whom we grant long life, we revert him to a weak condition of creation." Will they not then understand? Now when we look at the life of the greatest prophet, Hazrat Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, we see that he was also extremely ill in his final days. Hazrat Aisha narrated, "I never saw anybody suffering so much from sickness as Allah's Messenger sallallahu alaihi wasallam." In reality, there is nothing wrong in being ill, as proven from the Quran, the Sunnah, and common logic as well. The tafsir of the anti-Ahmadis themselves say some horrible things about the sickness of Hazrat Ayyub al-Islam. In fact, it is said that his people would say that if you were a true prophet of Allah, then you would not have gotten this disease. Sadly, it is in the nature of the anti-Ahmadis to mock prophets of Allah. Someone's illness or weakness in their final days should never be made an accusation. Furthermore, it is stated about great Islamic scholars like Hazrat Ibn Hajar al-Asqalani that excess diarrhea led to his death. According to the anti-Ahmadi logic, the Prophet Muhammad ﷺ, Hazrat Ayub al-Islam, Hazrat Ahmad al-Islam, many other prophets and saints must also be rejected. The next allegation of the anti-Ahmadis is that Hazrat Ahmad al-Islam, God forbid, died in the washroom. This is a complete lie as stated before and has no truth to it. Hazrat Ahmad al-Islam passed away on his bed in the state of prayer, and all eyewitnesses have said the same. In fact, the promised Messiah's bed was transported to his bedroom from the courtyard because of the cold, and after 1 a.m. no book mentions any washroom being used or any vomiting occurring. He passed away at around 10 a.m. in the state of worshipping his creator. It is sad that the anti-Ahmadis compare praying and worshipping Allah to the washroom. In fact, the narrations the non-Ahmadis quote to try to raise allegations also say the same exact thing and do not support their claim at all. Rather, this is only a lie they spread as they cannot discuss from the Qur'an and Sunnah. In those days, all arrangements were made near the person's bed. According to the anti-Ahmadis, majority of the world who lived in the past died in the washroom, as in their final days, arrangements were always made near their bed. Even then they are proven to be liars, as Hazrat Ahmad al-Islam used the washroom at around 1 a.m. and passed away at around 10:30 a.m. The anti-Ahmadis have not only mocked Hazrat Ahmad al-Islam but also Hazrat Muhammad ﷺ, since they say arrangements cannot be made near the person's bed. It is narrated that the Prophet ﷺ had a wooden vessel under his bed in which he would urinate at night. Secondly, during the last day of the Prophet ﷺ, it is narrated that he also used the washroom before passing away. It is said that Hazrat Aisha relates that she gave him support with her chest, or she said with her lap. He asked for a container to urinate in. He urinated therein. Thereafter he passed away. This is why we continuously advise the anti-Ahmadis to actually read the Qur'an and Hadith, as they often try mocking Hazrat Ahmad al-Islam, but in reality not only mock him, but also the greatest of creation, sallallahu alaihi wasallam. It is my challenge to the anti-Ahmadis that can any anti-Ahmadi give a single name of any companion eyewitness who left the Jamaat after the death of the Messiah saying that he passed away in the washroom? Never will they be able to do so. Why would the companions who were eyewitnesses, who sacrificed everything for the true Islam, stay in this Jamaat of Allah if this allegation was true? The final allegation which will be answered is that the anti-Ahmadis say that Ahmad al-Islam, God forbid, died of cholera. This is just another false allegation. Firstly, cholera was not even spread in India during the month of May, which shows that it was impossible that Hazrat Ahmad al-Islam had this disease. In fact, in India this disease would come in late summer to fall. It is also said that the seasonal cholera incidence reaches in these two states its peak in spring, while in Punjab the disease shows a relatively high incidence during the monsoon months of July and August. Secondly, anyone with even a little bit of knowledge on diseases would know that cholera is highly contagious. Many research papers also suggest this. Because of it being contagious, the corpse of a person who dies of cholera is not allowed to travel, as there was a risk of the disease spreading if the person actually had it. The authorities would have never allowed the body of Hazrat Ahmad al-Islam to be transported by public transport from Lahore to Batala by train and thereafter to Qadian by private transport. However, the body of Hazrat Ahmad al-Islam was taken to Qadian with the full knowledge of the authorities only because the death certificate, which was issued by Dr. Cole Sutherland, the chief civil surgeon of Lahore and principal of King Edward Medical College, certified the cause of his death as intestinal irritation and not cholera. The certificate was required because opponents of Hazrat Ahmad al-Islam were already spreading false rumors that he passed away with cholera, God forbid, and therefore should not be able to travel. Hence, they initially refused to transport the body to Batala, but because of the certificate, they had to let the body travel. It seems as if it was the divine design of Allah that Hazrat Ahmad al-Islam was to be buried away from where he passed away, as in doing so it refuted any allegation of the opponents. Now the anti-Ahmadis love to quote a book called Hayat-e-Nasir, in which they claim that the Messiah ﷺ said he had cholera. Firstly, it is attributed to the father-in-law of Hadhrat Ahmad ﷺ. Secondly, it is a biography compiled by a companion and was written 2 years after the death of the father-in-law of Hadhrat Ahmad ﷺ, and therefore could not be verified. It was also written 20 years after the passing of the Messiah. Furthermore, it was early morning at 1 a.m. when this incident is said to have taken place, which shows that there was a possibility that something may have been misheard. If he ﷺ did say this, he was making an inquiry rather than a statement, meaning, I am suffering from cholera? And such way of speech is always used in the Urdu language. Furthermore, it is possible that when a prophet is ill, he may think something which is not in reality true. In fact, the non-Ahmadi Muslims believe in a narration which is as follows. It is stated about the prophet that he used to think that he had done something which in fact he did not do. The anti-Ahmadis believe that the holy prophet of Islam was, God forbid, affected by magic. However, according to my view, this is incorrect. Hazrat Ahmad himself explained that the reason why this is incorrect and I will never accept it is because the Qur'an itself says that anyone who says that the prophet has been affected by magic is a wrongdoer. Furthermore, the Christians raise a similar allegation on the Prophet ﷺ. It is narrated that Hazrat Aisha said that the Prophet said, O Aisha, I still feel the pain caused by the food I ate at Khaybar, and at this time I feel as if my aorta is being cut from that poison. In the final days of the Holy Prophet ﷺ, he said that I feel pain from the poison of the Jews. This does not mean that he ﷺ passed away of poisoning, as the anti-Ahmadis would like to suggest. Let us now see the last words of Hazrat Ahmad ﷺ. Here is a translation. He stated, Allah, my beloved Allah. When it was time of Fajr prayer, the promised Messiah ﷺ said in a weak voice, has the time of prayer come? In reply to this, one person replied that yes, it is prayer's time. Then the Messiah ﷺ performed tayammum to pray. He went unconscious and asked again and performed tayammum again on his bed and kept worrying about prayer. When he retained consciousness, again he said, Allah, my beloved Allah. This is the beautiful prophet that the anti-Ahmadis mock. A person always lost in the love of Allah and busy in the worship of Allah till his last breath. In regards to the latter-day Messiah ﷺ, the Prophet ﷺ stated, he will be buried with me. Apart from this meaning that the latter-day Messiah would be just like the Holy Prophet, it also shows that their deaths would be similar. Both their deaths are mocked and both went in and out of consciousness before passing away. Hazrat Aisha narrated, when death approached him ﷺ, while his head was on my thigh, he became unconscious and then recovered his consciousness. In the end, I pray that the anti-Ahmadis come to their senses and stop mocking a beautiful prophet of Allah, as accepting him is the only cure for the Muslim Ummah today. I also pray that all Muslims are guided under the banner of the true caliphate, which was promised to us by Allah in Surah Nur and also prophesied by the Holy Prophet ﷺ, which is none other than under the hands of Hazrat Mirza Ghulam Ahmad.